action. Hey, Gary Fong here. I want to show you a little contraption here. Probably don't see too many of these, which is kind of interesting. It's a Sony a77, and I've actually really been enjoying using these cameras a lot. Now here's the reason. The technology is much more advanced than any of the optical lens cameras. What I'm talking about is that when you look through the viewfinder, you can see through it because there's a glass. On this one there's actually a screen. It's an LED screen. It's called an OLED screen, and it's extremely high resolution. You got to see it to believe it. When you turn it on, you look through it, and then if you shoot it on manual, you can literally do exposure override or underride with your finger and watch the background go up and down. It beats so many cameras on specs. This is a 21 megapixel camera that'll fire at 12 frames per second. There's no camera like it that has that kind of specs currently on the market. And the reason that it can shoot so fast is because it has no mirror. When you put it on high-speed motor here, it shoots at 12 frames per second. It's really, really fast. And here's the interesting thing. The autofocus is extremely fast, and on Canon and Nikon I typically don't use the servo predictive focusing mode, which is that one where it'll pick the focus spot, something's coming at you, and it'll pick the focus spot and lock on it. I normally don't use those because, like in wedding photography or something, it'll lock on the thing that's in front. Like if a bride has a bouquet, it'll lock on that, and then the eyes will go out of focus. If you're using a really fast lens, like this beautiful thing here, it's a 50 miller. This is an 85 millimeter f1.4. This thing's a beast. Massive, big front element. Now this is actually a Sigma lens. I use Sigma lenses. Sony's got lenses that are great. The thing about the Sigma is that the glass is bigger, they focus smoother, and they're quite a bit cheaper. Anyway, going back to the predictive autofocus. With Canon or Nikon, I literally have to focus with you in the center and then recompose so that you're not, you know, like this, like right in the middle. Okay, so the focus spot would be in the middle, and then I have to recompose to put it here. On this camera, I can put it on predictive autofocus and literally turn on face recognition. This is the weird part. It'll recognize my face and then it'll know the eyeball. That's weird. So it actually is faster than I could possibly focus, because once it does the face tracking, it'll track the eyeball and then it'll focus on that. Here's the other thing. It's got smile recognition. You can say broad smile, normal smile, and I know that sounds really kind of weird, but do you want to catch the smile at its peak? Now, you can override it by squeezing the trigger, but if you put it on smile recognition, the minute somebody smiles, it'll shoot. When it reaches the smile size that you want. Sounds completely automatic and weird, and yeah, it kind of takes away a lot of the professional, you know, a lot of the decisions that we make. I wouldn't use so much of the auto functions if it didn't make a lot of decisions that I would personally make as a professional photographer only faster. Here's another crazy thing. If I put it on Auto Plus, never seen anything like it. It'll go to me. And if I have it like cropped like this where I'm in the middle, it'll automatically recrop right here. Don't know how it does it. Here's the other thing. Yesterday I was taking a photo of my aunt holding my daughter. There were two squares, right, with a face recognition, and the squares were lit up. The one square on my aunt said portrait. The one square with the baby said baby. It literally said baby right up here on the top of the screen. And what it does, and I was curious to see what it does, because, you know, they have manuals, but there's not like a whole bunch of instruction on what this camera does. On the baby mode, it actually does something really interesting with the flesh tones. It kind of punches it up or does something to them that makes them look a lot more pleasing. I normally would shoot on kind of a very neutral tone, just so that later I won't lose any of the shadow details. It does high HD movie, full-size HD movie, and unlike the industry standard for fusion videos, the Canon 5D or the 7D, this one will autofocus, and it's called a phase detection autofocus. It's extremely fast, so I can do videos, have this thing on, and it will do autofocusing, and you won't hear it with the silent lenses. Drawbacks. The drawbacks to it are, and this is what I've read, and I don't think it's true because when I got the new firmware version 1.0.5, it actually took care of so many things like focusing speed and image quality. In some of the reviews I saw, it said that it's too noisy at higher speeds, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot some comparisons with my Nikon and this guy. But and the other drawback at the moment is there is on the wireless flash, when you pop this flash up, the flash actually cannot disactivate in the exposure. That's one thing that is kind of a limitation. I asked the people at Sony about that, and they said, oh, simply put like one of their flashes on it and point the flash head away from you know, the subject, and then you'll get the directional flash. That's you know, whatever. That's going to tie up another flash unit. And then the other thing too is I don't know where to find a radio slave for it. If anybody knows, please comment below. There's one called the Pixel King. The Pixel King says that it requires a firmware update, which is not available yet. I don't know. I haven't bought the Pixel King because I'm waiting for someone on the internet to say, oh yeah, the Sony does have wireless. The engineering on this thing is really cool. You really kind of almost have to rethink everything you've ever done before. Like, for example, when I got the vertical grip, this guy right here, so it's got this massive big wheel here, which makes it torque better. But so what happened was, on a Canon, you have to remove this door. Like on a 5D, you literally have to remove the door, and I always lose mine. So that's, I always have like a drive sitting on the 5D. Check this out, and this is just kind of a sample of the Sony innovation. So I said, well, when I stick this on, the door won't come off. And they said, you're not supposed to take the door off. The door literally slides into a hole in the drive, and you'll see it kind of swallow up in a second. Right here, watch the door go. Inside the door, it just swallows it up, and there's a little slot in there, so you don't have to take that out. All of the ergonomics on this thing, once you get used to it, it's freaking awesome. And the screen is really cool because, like, when you're shooting portraiture or babies or whatever, you can use the iView finder, or you can use this screen, which does so many things. It'll go way up here, way down here, and it'll actually even come around and rotate so that you can see yourself if you're doing video.